You know what? I am sick of seeing all these negative posts online commenting on Charlotte's looks in a negative way. It is pathetic. Every single one of these weirdos online analyzing her looks are absolutely firing me up.
Sounds like the neckbeards got you mad again.
Oh, come here, Alexa. Mad is an understatement. How can so many people feel like it's okay to judge the way someone looks and then be absolutely mean-spirited about it? It's horrible. Charlotte is amazing and beautiful.
Well, what do these people making the comments look like?
It doesn't matter what they look like. I don't think it's right at all to judge someone or to make comments about the way someone looks or how I perceive how they look, even if they are internet trolls.
Yeah, but they are trashing Charlotte's.
Okay, good point. Let's see what this guy looks like. Oh, big surprise here. Look, they don't even have pictures of themselves.
Well, there you go. Trolls gonna troll Mayor Aaron.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But I just wonder what this person might look like.
Ha! That comment will get me tons of likes. I mean, just look at Charlotte. I can't believe how she looks. Did you clean your room yet? Mom! I'm busy on mine! Did you shave your weird neck beard yet? How can I shave my neck hair if you haven't gone for the store for me, Mom?
On second thought, I'm going to let these miserable people just be miserable in their own lives. I'm going to go review the Charlotte figure. Alright, so before we get started with today's figure review, I have to get something off my chest. So here in LumberJillville, from the start, I have been all about showing respect, care, and absolute love to women's wrestlers and women's wrestling figures because there's a huge lack of respect for them in general and their figures out in the community, the wrestling community. And that's been made very apparent as of late. What I'm talking about is the last few weeks there have been tons, and I mean tons, of negative posts about Charlotte Flair. Not her wrestling, but her looks. Dissecting, commenting in a negative way, talking about surgeries, just making mean-spirited comments about Charlotte's looks. And to me, that is absolutely disgusting behavior as a human being. There's a women's wrestling Facebook group that I have been in for years, and they've done a pretty good job of showing respect and care for women's wrestlers, and that's rare out there, let me tell you. But the admin made a post and had a side-by-side of Charlotte, an image from 10-15 years ago, and then an image of now, and basically said, what do you think in the comments? Let me know what you think she had done in the comments. I can't really tell. So, what, your form of getting cheap engagement is having people comment and kind of dissect her looks to figure out what she might have or might have not had done. To me, that is absolutely gross. That is disgusting behavior, especially as an admin of a Facebook group that we're supposed to be a community. We're supposed to be raising these women's wrestlers up and showing respect and love. In a post like that, I immediately made some comments back to him saying that is some cheap engagement. They got all, try to clap back at me or whatever you want to call it. And I just left the group because what a worthless group that is. We're supposed to share in this community, share love, respect, and admiration of these amazing women, and there's just not enough of us out there. So I appreciate every single one of you residents of LumberJillville that tunes in that has that same respect and love and care for the women. Because there's so much negativity out there and it makes my skin boil. And Charlotte Flair, she's beautiful. She's amazing. She has an argument to being the best women's wrestler of all time. So she deserves the respect of the community out there. Now, I know there's always going to be internet trolls out there. There's always going to be negative people that are miserable with their own lives, have to try to poke and pick at other people. But those people just need to buzz off. Go back to your miserable lives, okay? Keep being negative online. That's fine if that makes you feel better, okay? But stay the hell out of LumberJillville's way, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Now, with that being said, I'm excited to review the brand new Charlotte Flair SummerSlam Elite. Now, let me take a deep breath, and let's start off by taking a look at the packaging. Alright, so starting out with the packaging here. Now, I always love the Survivor Series or the WrestleMania or the SummerSlam, etc. series that have a unique design to the packaging. And this is no different. I really do like how this looks. However, there are a few things that carry over from the mainline Elites. That's the cheap cardboard that's like tissue thin, paper thin, horrible quality, and that limited window. Now, with that limited window, you can see my biggest issue with this figure right off the bat, that she doesn't come with a freaking robe. The robe that she wore this night, which I'll show you in the next segment here, it was a pretty simple red robe that they could have easily made, especially because they've shown they can do soft goods, especially for the men's figures. So how come Charlotte has only had robes on 2 of her figures? 3 if you count the zombies. That's just ridiculous. But either way, the figure does look cool how she's posed there. You see that we got extra hands. And then unfortunately we have Build-A-Figure William Regal. It looks like arms there, I guess. Yeah, that's kind of an eyesore to have on the front of the package. So I'll probably open both of these Charlottes. Or let my daughter open the other one because she loves Charlotte. But yeah, so we have the SummerSlam logo there. We have an image of the beautiful and talented Charlotte. Once again, on the side. On this side, we have her name. And then on the back, let's see here. The Queen battled Bianca Belair and Asuka in a high-impact triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship at SummerSlam 2023. And yes, that is accurate to what this attire is from. Now, there are some things they could have done better on the attire if you look at the image of what it actually was. And then what we got, we'll cover that in a little bit here. And then we have the rest of the line. And then we have, okay, so what does William Regal, what does he come with this figure? It looks like he comes with the arms and then 2 fist hands, including the brass knuckle hands. So yeah, check eBay. I'll be selling those parts as soon as possible. Now with that being said, let's open this figure up. WWE SummerSlam 2025 Elite Charlotte Flair. This attire is from the SummerSlam 2023 Premium Live event, which took place on August 5th from Detroit, Michigan. On this night, Bianca Belair would come out victorious in a triple threat match against Charlotte and Asuka to become the new WWE Women's Champion. Alright, some overall first impressions of this figure. I think it's a cool figure, but in my opinion, they definitely cut some corners on this figure as far as giving it detail, really giving it love and attention, because this is all we get. This is all we get, an extra pair of hands, and then her attire that isn't even super accurate because there's no metallic paint, no glitter to it. Just kind of simple and plain. Now, it looks cool, but it's not very accurate. Now, we do get, and I'll cover these real briefly because I really don't care about them. We get William Regal's Build-A-Figure arms with the brass knuckles sculpted on, and then extra fists of his. So maybe that's why there's a real lack of extra effort put into this figure, but there is. I mean, there just is. Like, this attire looks really, really cool, and I was really happy that they made her in this attire. But to have it not have any type of metallic finish or sparkle or shine is a real head scratcher. And as I've talked about, there's no freaking robe. There's no robe. How can they keep making Charlotte Flair figures and not give her a robe? And yes, I know they've given her a robe on 2 of her previous figures, her Ultimate Edition, and then I believe it was Elite Series 54. And she also had a robe on the Zombies figure, but that doesn't count. And I get that they've done it before, but why have they not done it in so long? And why don't they make it a normal thing? Charlotte's known for her robes, and this one would have been dang easy to make. So that's my biggest complaint here, is they really did seem to phone it in. It seems like whoever made this said, oh yeah, we'll make that attire. And they went through the effort, made the attire. They didn't add any type of shine or metallic to it, and they didn't include the robe. And that, to me, is not only a head scratcher, it's really disappointing, because for an Elite figure, you just don't get a whole lot here. So as far as the face scan, face sculpt, and hair sculpt goes, I like it. Now, we have seen this face previously used in some of her more recent figures, and I think it works really well. I think it looks like her. I think they should have raised her eyebrow a little bit. You know, she already has that arrogant, kind of cocky smirk. I wish they would have raised her eyebrow some, but either way, it does look like Charlotte. I think it does a good job resembling her from all different angles. I think it's a pretty good scan and sculpt, so I could see why they keep reusing it, honestly. Now, the hair sculpt is new. This is the first time we've gotten a Charlotte figure that has just the straight down hair. Usually it's curled, or the Survivor Series one had little braids, but this one is just straight down, and I think it looks really cool. It's really, really long, which is really neat, and it's that blonde color that she's known for. So yeah, I think the face, the hair, really, really good here. All right, so as far as the body sculpt and attire goes, I will say that the body sculpt works okay, but it definitely could be better. What I mean by that, and I've said this before with Bianca Belair's figures, especially her Elites and her previous Ultimate Edition, is that Bianca deserves a muscular midsection. She deserves to have some unique sculpted parts, and Charlotte's no different. Charlotte deserves to have some uniquely sculpted parts as well. Now, it does appear that there is some unique sculpting as far as the attire goes in the midsection than the top, but she definitely should have a more muscular physique and figure form, and Mattel just hasn't given us that with Charlotte, and that's really disappointing. Now, I do think this body sculpt works okay. I think it works just fine, but it could be a little more muscular. You know, I think Bianca's is more of a miss than this is, so I think it works just fine. Now, as far as the attire goes, the attire has a lot of intricate sculpted detail, and it looks cool, but as I mentioned, my number one complaint is it's not metallic, not shiny. It doesn't have that shine that they could have easily added to it. But if we look closer at the attire itself, you can see that we did get a lot of unique sculpting here, and I think the top, as far as the sculpting goes, is beautiful. Even this little buckle is painted in a metallic silver, and it looks like a legit buckle. There's also a little pattern here, a little raised pattern. It's kind of bumpy all across there. We have multiple shades of red. She does appear to have a unique chest sculpt, which is very cool for her. Now on the back, and we do have some pretty intricate sculpting. Even this little fold is sculpted. I like when they do that with the women's wrestling attires, because it shows that they did put some effort into the sculpting process, so that looks good. Now we have the strap going around the bottom of her top that's sculpted on. The midsection, so right above that waist articulation, we do have this belt that is sculpted on. It's not just painted. And once again, it has that silver buckle, which looks really, really cool. The bottoms aren't just a plain red. They also have a sculpted raised pattern going around. Now the legs have that off flesh color to give it like the see-through pantyhose appearance, which looks good. Even these little dark red designs on there look pretty good with the buckle there. The knee pads do feel like that newer material that I really like that they started using, because it allows a lot more flexibility. Although mine feel kind of dry, so I don't know. It does look like the new knee pads, but it doesn't really feel like it. Now, moving on to the boots, we have, just like Charlotte's previous Elites, you know, we have her Ultimate Edition boots. And what that means is we get this stupid toe joint. This toe joint is the worst. I wish they would get rid of it. It makes the figures hard to stand, and it just looks terrible. But the boots are really cool here. I like the detail of them being gray with the CF on the side and the white laces. Now, again, I wish there was some type of metallic shine, metallic finish added to this attire, but I am impressed with the sculpting that they did, especially on the tops. The attire is cool, even if it's not that accurate. Now, taking a look at the arms here, we have these little gauntlets that are painted on with pretty good detail there, but there's no sculpting going on. Her nails are painted, which is really cool, and I cannot tell what color they are, but holy crap. Okay, so the color, let's see if we can see. The color looks like a shiny metallic green. That's probably the coolest nail polish color I've seen them apply on a women's wrestling figure. It looks really, really cool. Now, as far as her tattoos go, let's see what's visible here. We have her tattoo on her side there. We have, obviously her wrist is covered up, but we have a tattoo on her left forearm. We have some butterflies and some text. Let's see what else is visible here. We have on the back side part of that cross. And now I wish they would just print the whole cross on, but I get that they don't because it could rub off. And yeah, so the tattoo detail is pretty good. Let's see, is there any up here, like behind the ear or something? I guess you can't tell with this hair sculpt. But yeah, so as far as the body sculpt and attire, definitely a cool sculpting job here, but I wish it was metallic. All right, so let's do a little side-by-side comparison. Now, side note, I do have every single one of Charlotte Flair's figures. However, this Elite Series 92 figure on the left, in my opinion, is the definitive Charlotte Flair figure. I think it's better than the Ultimate Edition, which had its own issues, and better than all her other figures, and she's had some pretty decent figures in the past. Also, I think this metallic purple attire is a lot more Charlotte Flair-esque. It's a lot more iconic, right? When you think of Charlotte Flair, this is what a lot of people think of, right? Or attire similar to that. This attire is cool that we got her in that attire, but it is more of a one-off-ish, kind of a niche attire, much like the Survivor Series Elite that we got that's in the all black. It's kind of a unique look, which looks great amongst all the Charlottes in your collection, but if you go with one Charlotte, you gotta go with this Elite Series 92, in my opinion, and I absolutely love the purple, but I love that it's a metallic type purple. I just think that looks great. Now, I have done a full review on it on the channel, so I won't bore y'all with that, but if you had to choose one Charlotte for your collection, I would 100% go with Elite Series 92, even over today's. Now, if you're a Charlotte completionist, then I think you'll be pleased with today's SummerSlam Elite, because it is so different and so unique, and to me, that's pretty cool. All right, let's do a little articulation. So the head can move. Okay, it's inhibited by the long hair, much like most women's wrestling figures. Shoulders on a ball joint can go in all different directions. We have an upper bicep swivel. We have double jointed elbows that can really flex. We have wrists that can rotate, that can also extend up and flex down. And look at that nail polish color. That's so cool. It's like metallic. I wish they would have used metallic paint on the rest of the figure like they did nail polish. Anyway, we have that upper torso swivel, can move a lot. We have the waist swivel, hip is on a ball joint, can move in all different directions. We have an upper thigh swivel. Double jointed knees that actually are inhibited by these knee pads, unfortunately. It doesn't appear to be that stretchy-ish type material. We have an upper boot swivel. The feet can plant down, rock side to side like an Ultimate Edition. We also have it looks like a shark. Doesn't it look like a shark? We have this toe joint because they just keep reusing the Ultimate Edition Charlotte boots, and that's why her Elites have that toe joint. But yeah, so that's the articulation. So overall, I give 2025 SummerSlam Elite Series Charlotte Flair an overall score of a 6 out of 10. To me, this feels like an unfinished figure, like they were through the process of making it and decided, okay, I think we're good right here. We're not going to give it metallic paint. We're not going to give her her robe. We put enough effort into it. And to me, that's really disappointing. As time goes on, I'm learning to truly appreciate Jazzwares and their women's wrestling figures and all the love that has gone into each one as of late. I wish Mattel would carry that love over to their line, because we see flashes of brilliance like with the Kairi Sane and some other figures, but sometimes like this Charlotte, it's kind of a head scratcher. Like, why would they go through all the effort in giving her this really cool, unique sculpted top? There's a sculpted belt that goes around. There's even sculpting on the bottom with an elevated pattern, and not give it the metallic paint finish to make it accurate. Or at least if they didn't do that, give her the red robe that she wore on this night. As I mentioned earlier, they've made so many soft good robes and fabric attires, especially for their men's figures. I mean, if the Sultan gets this extravagant fabric cape, if Justin Hawk Bradshaw gets a unique jacket, why the frick can't one of the top women's superstars get a robe? As I mentioned a lot in this review, she did get a robe previously in Elite 54, her Ultimate Edition, the Zombie series, but she should have more robes, and this was the perfect opportunity to include a robe with her figure. I think they had the ball on the tee, and they whiffed. They did not hit the ball, and they could have knocked it out of the park. If this figure would have had a metallic finish, if she would have came with the red robe, this might be flirting with Figure of the Year, in my opinion, because I like the face, I like the hair, and as I mentioned, the sculpting works really good, but I just feel like it's unfinished. I feel like that level of effort and love that has gone into so many figures as of late, like the Great Muta figures of a superstar that's never stepped foot in a WWE ring, okay? There's a lot of love and passion put into those figures. Where's the love and passion put into the Charlotte? It's really disappointing, in my opinion, and that's why it gets a score just above average. So first off, I appreciate everyone out there that was able to bear with me through my rant at the beginning of this video, because I like to keep things positive and optimistic and happy here in LumberJillville. But sometimes I just need to get things off my chest. I need to vent because, as I mentioned, there's a real lack of respect for the women and women's wrestlers and their figures, and it's frustrating, and I'm always going to go out of my way to support them and do what I can to help change that landscape. So I appreciate y'all for putting up with me for that, and I hope you enjoyed today's review. Now that being said, thanks for stopping by LumberJillville. Women's wrestling lives here. To get a first look at all future women's wrestling figure reviews, make sure to hit subscribe to become an official resident of LJV today. Now, Elite Series 116 Jade Cargill, that should be shipping very soon, so look for that review. But until then, just know that every Monday night right here in LumberJillville, I'm going to be reviewing a classic women's wrestling figure. It could be a Jax figure, a Mattel figure, it could be a TNA figure. It could be any classic women's wrestling figure I've never covered on the channel. And every Monday I'm going to be reviewing that. So look for that coming out this Monday and every Monday after. Thank you for watching and have a great night, y'all.